Okay, look, I know this video is 2 years late and Invincible Season 2 is literally like right around the corner, but it's exactly why this video is here on your time feed. Time feed? What? Time feed? I sound like a fucking boomer. Nah, I meant timeline. No, it's not. Look, I don't know how you came across this video, but if you're here, thank you. So we're gonna be talking about Invincible Season 1 and my thoughts about it. I just wanted to release this video now instead of like 2 years ago because I didn't want recency bias to get in the way. So here's the video and we're gonna be talking about it today. Yeah, no, that was a lie. It's not only because of recency bias. I only said that so I can sound intelligent, so you guys watching will be like, oh, he knows what he's talking about when he's making these kind of videos. But obviously there are other factors, but I'm just gonna go with recency bias because that makes me sound intelligent. So yeah, that's what we'll go with. Alright, I'm going to assume the majority of people watching this video today have watched Invincible, but if you haven't, here's a quick little rundown as to what this show is about. Essentially, Invincible is a story about a guy called Mark Grayson who finally gets his powers before his 17th or 18th birthday. I'm not too sure, so do not quote me on that. However, he wants to follow in his father's footsteps, who is also the strongest human on the planet. The story also follows Mark and his journey through superherodom, his girl drama, his school drama, all of that all roped into one. Now, if that sounds very generic and very tame, that's done by design because if there's one thing this show does very well, is subverting expectations. I should also include Invincible can get very graphic, so I've accepted this fact this video will definitely get demonetized. So if you're not into graphic stuff and all that, you can still enjoy the show, you can come to love the characters and the storyline, but I just feel the graphic depictions actually add to the overall of the story, as I will explain later. Alright, now I want to make some things clear. I have not read the comics, not a single issue or page. So what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be strictly based on what I've seen in the show and nothing else. I do understand if you watch the show on Amazon Prime and whatever, a trivia prompt came up when you're watching the episodes and certain scenes. I didn't cross-reference them. I'm not a detective and I had things to be doing while making this video, and by things I mean exams, so please bear with me. With that being said, I understand this intro is probably a bit too long, so I feel I've gotten everything out of the way so we can jump into the video. My bad, I forgot to add the spoiler warnings because this video will definitely have them. So if you haven't actually watched the show, you should click off the video now, watch the show, come back to this video, and then watch it. But if you don't really care about spoilers and you just want to know somebody else's take on the show, by all means, please stay. I really do need the algorithm on my side, so I'll appreciate it. Okay, let's just jump straight into what I love about this show. It's pretty much everything. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Nah, guys, I'm just playing. Let me be serious. I believe Invincible is a very captivating show because of its realism and its complexity and its compelling storytelling with its characters and development and whatnot. Invincible has often been compared with the likes of The Boys, which I somewhat understand because the shows have similarity when it comes to its brutality and what the world would be like if superheroes really did exist in our world. Because let's be real, if you had the powers of Omni-Man and Homelander, you know damn well you're going to become a menace to society. You're not going to be helping people like the Flash or whatever. Let's be real. With that being said, from the moment the security guards are talking about their plans and how they have to go for training, and the moment one of them mentions like what are their guns going to do against superhero individuals like that, I knew this show was going to be very different. I had that feeling. Another way I knew this show was going to be different was when the Guardians of the Globe, which are essentially the Justice League of this universe, were killed off in a brutal way within the first episode by Omni-Man at the end of the episode. Having that big of a plot twist within your first episode in a show, and especially in its pilot, is a very ballsy move, but I'm glad they did it because that shit sucked me in. The scene itself and where Omni-Man actually does the killing and everything, it's so graphic because up to that point, the show's like a bit tame in its graphic, like it's very tame. And then to see the Superman of that universe just obliterate his teammates, it's just like, what the fuck am I watching? And that shit is just so, I love that kind of shit, man, especially in your first episode. Because if there's one thing Invincible did very well, it had a good job setting up the characters and the world within the first episode. So seeing the heroes getting killed off was shocking to say the least. Because in all the scenes leading up to that, Omni-Man was portrayed in a loving, supportive husband and a father. But obviously later as we get into the show, we know he ain't like that for real. I feel by the second episode, especially for Mark, that was his episode because he gets to experience what it's like to actually be a superhero. He learns pretty quickly that this shit is not sweet at all. Episode 2 does do a good job in building on the mystery as to why Omni-Man did what he did in the previous episode in a nice way. The scene where Omni-Man is getting discharged from the hospital and he's very hostile towards the secretary was played very nicely, and it made the audience, well, me anyways, it made me feel like, why is he always on that kind of timing now all of a sudden since killing the Guardians of the Globe? Like that scene that had me, I was like, is he about to deck this woman for like no reason? It's time for Mark to shine in this episode. There's a particular scene where he tries to save this old lady whilst the Flaxens are attacking the city, and she gets injured pretty badly. That was due to Mark's inexperience in the field, and we got to see the effect that had on him, and I feel that moment was expressed very well in the show. The introduction to the other heroes like Robot, Adam Eve, Explode, and Duplicate and the rest of the gang, it was pretty cool in the episode, and it served its purpose in helping Mark understand that not everything about being a superhero is as glamorous as one thinks, which again I loved because it was such a realistic take in the world of superhero though. I'm gonna get this one out of the way now, guys. So I'm a sucker for tired tropes in superhero shows, right? With the superhero protecting the identity from the people they love and all that. But I drew the line when it came to Amber's character because, my god, that woman did not make any sense whatsoever. Now, I thought by rewatching Invincible, I'd be able to see the show with fresh eyes, and it's true, it did work, right? And some things changed when I rewatched the show, like when Omni-Man slices the Immortal in half and you see his eyes. Meme culture completely ruined that scene for me because I forgot how brutal it was. And you know the scene I'm talking about.
Mark. We need to talk.
You see what I'm talking about? Like, meme culture ruined that scene for me. I was like, when I was rewatching, I was like, oh, I forgot how brutal this was. And I was laughing at that scene. I completely forgot all. But I'll tell you, there's one thing that didn't change for me though. It was Amber's character. It didn't change. And now I love the actress that voiced her. She was amazing and she played the role very well. But the inconsistent writing of her character was just, it boiled my blood, bro. And I hate being negative. I don't like being negative, right? But I have to See, I'm not even getting my words out properly, man. Let me calm down a bit. But the thing really boiled my blood because her character didn't make any sense. Here's just here's just a few things that Amber's character did that didn't really make sense to me. Now, if they made sense to you, that's cool. But for me, it didn't rock. It just didn't. Right. She aggressively told Mark's friend William that he has to give Mark her number. And that made no sense because deep, until that point, there was no indication that Mark actually wanted to move to her whatsoever. So I don't know why she felt that confident to threaten her friend to give Mark the number. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's her way of shooting her shot, that's fine. People have their ways as long as the basket goes in, right? But like in this case, it just made no sense. That's The next thing she did was immediately go out with a stranger she just met to a party and then proceed to get mad at the stranger when he reveals that he has a girlfriend, even though she just broke up with her man's less than, like, I don't know, 2 hours ago. I don't want to get too deep into that one because that could actually hit too close to home. The next thing she does is telling Mark off for when he disappears when the reanimation man appears and he obviously transforms into Invincible to fight him off. Then he comes back as Mark. She'll be like, yo, where were you? Where did you go? And now here's the thing. At this point, she now goes off at him and breaks up with the guy. And I'm like, this is actually valid because you know what? If I'm out here fighting somebody and my woman just dips and he comes back as if nothing happened, I'm like, yo, I will leave you. Like, that actually makes sense. But the fact that when Mark finally has the courage to tell her, hey, yo, I'm invincible, and she's like, oh, I've been known for like 3 weeks or more, it completely contradicts why she was mad at the first point. Oh man, that one made no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know if that was intentional or whatever it was. It just did not make sense to me. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Amber. I lied. I just remembered the one scene when Amber goes to Mark after he absolutely gets decked by his father and everything like that, and she goes to like comfort him and everything like that. It's the fact that Mark actually takes her back. Like, that's not even like an Amber kind of thing. That's just more of a dig on Mark because Mark was a big simp for that. Like, that one pissed me off on. Calm down. Okay, now I feel like I'm done talking about Amber. I think I've gotten everything out of the way. And if I've missed anything, please, by all means, go down into the comments and discuss that because, no, it's because I refuse to be stressed by this woman anymore. I'm going to talk about something else in this video now. One thing I do like about the show is that the villains aren't actually just one and done. Like, they're not going to be in one episode and next, you know, they're gone. Like, they actually have some sort of significance in the show, and that's clear with villains like the Mauler twins and Titan. The Mauler twins are cool additions to the story. They're there from the beginning of the show, and they play a role within the story throughout the season. I enjoy their dynamic of like, oh, I'm the real one and you're the clone. I don't believe they overdid it too much. When it comes to Titan's character, his involvement in the season for me is completely different, and it's not because we're both black, alright, even though it might seem that way. It's because from the first time we see him get decked by Invincible and the next time we see him in episode 6, it feels like we're seeing two completely different characters, and I love that kind of stuff. Because having a villain, quote unquote now, having a villain have such a complex moral stance in society is cool in my eyes. Right, so let me explain by what I mean by that. So when Titan goes to Invincible for help, he's like, hey, help me in my neighborhood, this is really bad. And Mark's like, I'm not really too sure if I can be doing all that. And then Titan says like, what, that's not too much publicity for you? Mark's like, oh, okay. And obviously he gets his help from there. The thing is, like, Titan didn't actually say that. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but like, you get the gist of what I'm saying there. After Titan succeeds in getting Invincible and the Guardians of the Globe to help him get out of Machine Head's control, it's revealed at the end of the episode that he set all of that up to become the new crime boss of the city. With that being said, I fucking love Machine Head. His auto-tuned voice was definitely one of the highlights of the season for me, and it made him one of the funniest characters in the show. With that being said, I'm gonna play some clips to further my point, and after you watch these, you're gonna have the same kind of feeling I had towards this character. And if you don't,
boy, fuck you.
It was one fucking time. I said.
Shut the hell up.
I don't need your money anymore.
Sure you do. Come on, like you're gonna go clean? Work the fry station at Burger Mart? That ship has sailed, amigo. This is your life now. This is what you do. What are you doing? You think you can just punch your way out of this? I know where your family lives, and that means you work for me until I say you're fucking done. Yeah, see? See? Impressive shit like that is exactly why I'm never letting you go! Plus, now you gotta pay for the desk, too. This was imported Italian maple.
right, do you guys see what I was talking about when I was saying Machine Head was one of the funniest characters in the show? Alright, cool. Let's go back to my point about Titan's character now. Titan furthering his own agenda was a cold and calculated move. However, it led me to ask myself questions like, was he actually wrong in doing what he did? Because on one hand, asking Invincible and the Guardians of the Globe for help to get out of Machine Head's control, it endangered their lives, but because it was for the better of his family and his community, depending on who you ask, it was a morally conflicting thing as whether he was right or wrong for doing what he did. I'm excited to see if there's any development in season 2 with that storyline, because aside from Omni-Man and Invincible's story, that was actually one of the best sub-stories in season 1 for me. With that being said, I'm going to talk about the main point of this whole video now. Concerning the entire cast, they did their thing. I kind of enjoyed everyone. Kind of did exactly what they needed to do. Funny enough, looking back on it, I was surprised to see Ezra Miller was actually one of the villains being portrayed, and you know, considering his controversy and shit like that, it's kind of funny to see him play that kind of a creepy character, but that's just a side note. But with that being said, the entire cast really did their job, especially when it came to Steven Yeun and J.K. Simmons. I didn't know that guy could play a villain like that. He did it so well. For me, Omni-Man is the star of the show. Even though the show follows Invincible and everything, it's very hard to imagine the story and how intense the show gets and intriguing without Omni-Man. The mystery as to why he killed the Guardians of the Globe, to why he's passive-aggressive towards Mark anytime they're training or whatnot, it's very hard to see that kind of dynamic without him in it. And when it came to the last 3 episodes, the storytelling and the complexity was so amazing. It was just done really, really well. They really did a three-peat when it came to those last 3 episodes. I can't lie. Now, the only negative thing I can say about those last 3 episodes is the whole robot sub-story where he was like swapping bodies with the boy and everything. Like, it was cool, but I just wish that story was told around like maybe episode 4 and 5 and concluded there, because I felt like the main story of Omni-Man and Invincible needed to happen within those last 3 episodes and just them alone, instead of having that subplot like, what the hell is Robot doing? Like, I didn't really need to know that, but like, I'm only nitpicking there. That's one thing I'll praise Invincible for though. It does a good job for pacing wise. Pacing is very good in the show. Like, when the show wants it to be very actiony, it's gonna be action. I know that's not a word, but let me rock, please. And when the show wants to sit down, relax, tell your stories and whatnot, it does that very well as well. So I feel like the balance was cool. So to have Robot's storyline just in there, it didn't really rock with me. That's the thing with the last 3 episodes with Debbie's character. She kind of doesn't do anything until those last 3 episodes, because up until that point, she's kind of taken a backseat with the story. She's only been there for like a couple of conversations with Mark every now and again, but obviously in the background, she's kind of skeptical about her husband and stuff like that. But she doesn't really do too much in the show until like the last few episodes. I do like the fact that when it comes to the fact that she has to confront Omni-Man about the killings of the Guardians of the Globe, she does it in a very badass way. Like, to think a complete, like, a complete human, an ordinary human, like, confronts the strongest man on the planet and tells him to go fuck himself after that. Bro, that was pretty badass in my opinion. I mean, granted, if someone did that to me, yeah, you're dead without a question. You know what I'm saying? The last episode for Invincible is definitely one of the best episodes in a TV show I've ever watched. It's not the best like Snowfall or Attack on Titan, but it definitely holds its own. Like, so many memes came to life with this episode, from like Think Mark Think to she's just a pet. Like, bro, so many memes came. Hold on, again, let me just show you.
What will you have after 500 years?
Candace.
Who's Candace?
Candace Dickfit.
Despite so many memes being brought to life in this last episode, it is by far the most brutal and most gruesome and most graphic. Like, I do not think I can actually convey how graphic it is without like showing it, so I'm going to. From the train scene to Omni-Man literally obliterating his son as if he's just a random villain of the week, like, bro, it's genuinely a hard watch. But obviously because of the memes, they made it funny, but like going back and rewatching it, I'm really like, there is no way this man treated his son like that, as if he was just like a person in his way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I do get Mark was in Omni-Man's way, but I didn't mean it in a physical way. I meant it more like a, dude, you're cock blocking me right now. Except the cock block was like, Mark wasn't gonna let Omni-Man just destroy you or let it be conquered. And that was the kind of thing I was trying to reference there. The thing is, I kind of understood Omni-Man's like motivations in a sense, like, hey, let Art join us and join the Empire. They can become better and stuff like that. I understand that, but to think that his son is gonna let that rock, even though like he was raised on Earth, everything like that, it's not really the same thing. So I kind of understand why there was a conflict between the two of them there. I feel like having those two opposing sides within the last episode is what really made it great for me, because having Omni-Man saying like, hey, you're gonna outlive them anyway, what's the point of even trying to save them? And Mark's like, hey, listen, it's humanity, it's beautiful, it's this and that. The points of them were amazing, not the fights though. Actually, it wasn't even a fight, because Mark got decked. Mark lost terribly. I'd say if there's one thing that kind of broke my whole heart in the sense was, despite everything Omni-Man was doing with destroying the city, the train scene and all of that, it was the fact that Mark was still trying to touch into his father's humanity or very little of what he had. And that shit really hurt me, because I was like, bro, you're seeing what he's doing. You see how he feels. I know he's your dad and everything, but like, bro, he's kind of a shit guy. He's literally a villain. Like, bro, he's evil. But then again, being evil is kind of the norm in Amazon TV shows when it comes to like The Boys and Invincible, so I'm not too surprised. Overall, Invincible had a very strong first season. From its pilot to the last episode, halfway through the season, the stories told were very intriguing and cool, and I'm excited to see where things go for season 2 and the later seasons, of course. Invincible is a show that took generic tropes and flipped them on its head in a cool and intriguing way. I'm excited to see where things go from here, because the show has a very cool and bright future ahead of itself. Also, if you've made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and liking. It would mean the absolute world. I didn't want to say this, but this is my first video on YouTube, so if you guys can really show me love and support, that would be amazing. However, I understand if it was kind of shit, then it's fine. Although, even if you do think that and you still want to subscribe, that's awesome and that'll be greatly appreciated. So thank you guys once again for watching. Until next time, deuces.